How bigger than a hell rain, things like you heard on the decks. Glover hold the court and give it to no suspect. Politics in the mix, like Gumbo Stewart Rich. Spinning tales from Black Wall Street, real life's the pitch. Johnny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Business tips hotter than lava. Got that Midas touch. Stocks and blocks teaching youngins how to clutch. Ears to the concrete, finger on the pulse. Dropping wisdom like Hova, each word a joke. Johnny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Walls painted black, history on lock. Blast off from Tulsa, rebirth like a clock. Markets rising from ashes to gains. Donnie the narrator, truth runs in veins. Johnny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Business tips hotter than lava. Got that Midas touch. Stocks and blocks teaching youngins how to clutch. Ears to the concrete, finger on the pulse. Dropping wisdom like Hova, each word a joke. Johnny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Walls painted black, history on lock. Blast off from Tulsa, rebirth like a clock. Markets rising from ashes to gains. Donnie the narrator, truth runs in veins. Johnny Glover Show, be more news. 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 Be news.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul, baby. Good evening to you. We hope your Saturday is going well. So we have a series here that BeMoreNews.com produces called the Indigenous series, and we're looking at who we are. Are we Moors, Hebrews, Indigenous, all three, a combination thereof? These and other questions, like about the mound pyramids, over some say 450, others say thousands, across not just North America, but South America as well. We talk about pyramids. Who has more pyramids? Africa, what we've always thought, or the Americas? Inquiring minds want to know, and the young people are leading the way on this reimagining, this reawakening, this reclaiming. For the longest time, we thought one way. Is it possible? Is it possible that rather than an Afrocentric perspective, there is the America or the Americentric perspective? So here to discuss these and other topics along the lines of Indigenous is our distinguished panel, including Horace the IVth. Good evening, sir.
Peace, my brother. Peace.
It's my ride or die soldier from Chi-Town, all the way from Hawaii, Planet Wells. Good evening, sir.
Blessings, blessings. Peace, brother.
Straight
Yes,
out
peace,
of Detroit,
peace,
Mr. Hannibal
Hey,
James. How are you, sir? Hannibal froze up there. We'll check him out. So, how's your day?
Blessed.
Uh-huh. Blessed, yeah, it's blessed, man. I just left Florida, headed
Okay.
back towards Bloomington, Illinois. I'm currently in the Georgia area now. Pulled over,
Mm.
man, to join this magnificent show and panel that we got here tonight.
Right on, right on.
Yes, sir.
Hannibal, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
So, Horace, you had a couple of agenda items you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, well, when you brought that to my attention, I thought that a good subject, would possibly be um, God or the ancestors. From whence does our help derive? And I think that the youth, like you said, the youth are leading the charge in this movement that's going on here on Turtle Island. And even before we sort of touch on that, a sister was telling me that the government had recently confessed publicly that we are the indigenous people who they was calling Indians here on this land. Did anybody else hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the reason why I like the Cherokee Nation and the Muskogee Nation is basically allowing their freedmen in right now. And so it got to do with the government and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So I think that's what's going on.
Because Donald Trump, said out his own mouth that that those people who are on these reservations don't look like Indians to him.
Yeah, you did say that.
That's pretty deep, man.
But with him, you have to definitely check the context.
Yeah,
Right.
He definitely ain't thinking the way we think.
True indeed. But I think that if anybody's familiar with Chief Redbird, Chief Warhorse.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Chief Redbird, man, I swear I love that lady, man. She's the sweetest, spiciest elder that we have, right now leading the pack for the indigenous people of this land, as well as Chief Warhorse. I love that sister. And I think that we might be some kin. She's down there in the parts where my granddaddy used to his stomping grounds. But man, it's a beautiful movement, man. We got on.
Where's that? Where's that?
Well, she's in Florida. Wait a minute, she's in Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in Louisiana. I don't think that she's down there by where Empress the diocese was at. But man, we got some sisters, man, that's leading the charge. But I was just coming across some information where Chief Redbird had went to the what's one of the largest families in London, the Bilderbergs. What's the other one? One of them. She had supposedly went over there and got the allodial title to this land over here in America because it's a reclamation of the indigenous people of the land. So she has the allodial title to the land right now.
I got a little clip by her. I think this is her.
Oh yeah, Chief Warhorse, yeah.
Shot time.
Creator. It's an honor to be here today. I love the theme.
Can't hardly hear it.
Where did America come from?
Okay.
Have it always been America?
About as loud as
Was
it's
just
gonna
created
get.
to be America?
Okay, but that's her.
Yeah, that's Chief Warhorse right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
I love that sister, man. I love her, man. Her and Chief Redbird, man. I love those sisters, man.
Did you tell her?
Well, no, I don't have no way to tell her other than expressing
Why
it
not?
personally, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
she's from the Choctaws down there in Louisiana.
True indeed.
Choctaws. Well, the English say Choctaw, but it's Choctaw, Chatah.
That's right. Choctaw.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, over in Nebraska and Oklahoma, man. When you going through there, man, they got so many casinos and gas stations and whatnot.
Okay.
They spell it Choctaw. They spell it Choctaw. A
Right.
Choctaw, however you pronounce it, something like that. Yeah, but that's a mispronunciation. I know that. From some of my aunties, they used to talk about it back in the days. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess the point of is our help coming from this God or from our ancestors. I thought would be a beautiful thing to touch upon, because I think that we're a little confused about who God is or what God is.
Mm-hmm.
And but we do have access, I know, to the ancestors, to the elements, and they've been waiting on us for a long time to just call on them, but you can't call on the ancestors for selfish reasons. Oh, I need to hit the lottery, or I'm behind on my bills and stuff like that. No, man, this is has to be something that's going to be beneficial for the people and for everybody in general, so to speak. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna leave it at that. Elder, I think that
Oh
you
no,
might
we
be
ain't
able
gonna
to
let
give
you
me some
slide like
insight on
that.
that.
I gotta be a little nosy. What do you ask the ancestors for anything?
Well, the only thing that I asked the ancestors to do is to guide me, protect me, and to help me wake the people up. When I went to when I go to the pyramids and the mounds, I cry out to them, like, how long are y'all going to stay asleep?
Mm-hmm.
Wake up and move through, the air and through the land, because it's been too long, man, that we've been under the foot of this I don't know what to call it, a hybrid or whatever it is that's on this planet that obviously shouldn't be here. Yeah, but I sure talk to the ancestors, man. Every day for the most part, but mostly more in depthly when I go to the mounds and to the pyramids, and that's when I really do my thing. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's
Do they ever give you a message back?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I was saying, that footage I sent you for that one pyramid mound that it just happened to come across it in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I remember Elder Wells when I said that I didn't want to be delusional, but I know, man, that when I was up there filming, man, that wind was blowing mighty hard,
mm-hmm.
and
That's right.
you can hear it. You can hear it on my phone as I'm filming, man, and I'm talking about this blowing, and so when I go to these monuments, I make sure that I'm barefooted,
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I take a little bit of my pyramid water with me and try to spread it, as much as I can. But I know that when I did that, my little personal ritual at the pyramid up in Chicago, man, a hawk or a falcon, like, man, came and flew, and it kept going, and I'm like, damn, I've never seen a hawk or a falcon up here in Chicago before.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
after I study, like I mentioned a lot of times, Carlos Castaneda,
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with Don Juan Nacia, who they call the sorcerer. Mother Nature has certain ways of validating what you're saying and what you're doing at that particular time. So I try to be mindful that there's a possibility that that's what's happening at that particular time when I'm doing my thing and speaking with the ancestors, as opposed to being a figment of my imagination. But I don't dismiss anything as being possible.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. So
And we should tell them
yeah,
that,
so
Horace, wherever you go, you take pictures of these pyramids and you travel all over the country.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. They everywhere, man.
This is
And
one of the pictures you took.
yeah, and like I said, that's upstate New York. It's in the Schenectady area, but it's another name, and the sign that you get off the highway or whatever, or that's on the highway, it says Iroquois land. And here in this particular location, it's about 500 of these just like this right there. So I got another picture. I'm gonna send it to you. Like man, if I was to pull over every time I seen a gigantic mound of pyramid, man, I will never make it to my destination on time. But
Well, I want to get
have,
this right here. We didn't really touch on this during the last show, that your theory, you have a theory that the Appalachian Mountains are really a series of mound pyramids.
yes, sir. Because if you look at them from an aerial point of view, there's no way in the world the mountains can grow like that. And I know that these people put out misinformation and try to make it look somehow like the earth was pushing up against each other and formed these, but those are too perfect to be mountains. And if you look at them, how they're lined up, they're so perfectly straight that they almost look like railroad tracks. And the angle at which,
They sure do. They sure do. I looked at them. Never thought of it before, but look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the steepness of the angles on which they sit, and the cleanliness of them, like, man, I'm talking about perfect, smooth, chiseled, like this. And I'm like, okay. And so when I look, for the rest of the entire globe, for any mountains that may resemble this, there are none anywhere. All of the mountains that are mountains, they look the same. But these particular ones that they call mountains, and like I said, there's up in one of them where those steps are chiseled into them, like the one over there in Pyramid Lake, California. So I'm really not buying this mountain theory about these Appalachians being mountain. And there's also a river. There's serpent-like in the way it goes through the mountains and around them, all through PA, man, and it's so beautiful, man. But if you notice that the majority of the major mountains, even the ones that's inland, for the most part, you can find the majority of them that's right by a body of water. So a lot of them, wherever there's rivers at, or there's bodies of waters at, you're most definitely going to find mounds and pyramids there. That's undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
It's undeniable, and yeah. So yeah, I'm really, man. I'm not buying the mountain theory, man, when it comes to these Appalachians, man. And then up in some part of I can't remember whether it's New York or Pennsylvania, but right on that area, they got tourist attractions where you can go down into them, but they call them caverns.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in Missouri, and this was some years ago, man, before the ancestors socked me upside the head with this degree of information. But I went down inside of one of them to deliver a load. And I mean, and it was perfectly how they had it down in there, man. I mean, it looked like the inside of a basement or a house or a garage or something, but it was down inside the actual what they call mountain. But Now, when I ride past it and look at it, I'm like, hold on, that's not a mountain, because this thing has steps on it.
Mhm.
And like I keep saying, mountains don't grow with steps, man. It's not according to physics. I don't think it happens like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Wells, along
Yes.
those lines, have you ever asked yourself what was going on this land in like 1300, 1200,
Yeah.
1100?
Yeah. Yeah. I've inquired into that. In terms of questioning, but back to Horace's initial question. I think most philosophies, religions focus on God as being the source. So the source before all other sources. Right? So if that's true, which seems certainly logical, then that source did not go to Walmart to make you. Didn't go to Amazon to make you. Right? So if there was just the source, and now there's you and your family tree and this, that, and the other, well, God would have had to take from itself to make you. Right? So also, God would have to take from itself to make nature, or what we call nature. Right? So our pipeline, however, to that source is through our ancestors' lineage. How do we know this? Because when we look in the mirror, okay, you may have beef with your parents, you may have beef with your mother, you may have beef with your father. But when you look in the mirror, you look like them. Okay? So there's a genetic pipeline that runs through you, through them, back to the source. So just by the fact that you look like them, you are them. Certainly the relationship of the physical body, right? And then within that physical body houses your consciousness, right? Now, when we speak of consciousness, we're speaking of something that is invisible, right? Like God, right? So God uses the expression comes through all that is, right? But your specific pipeline is your ancestry. That's why when a colonizer, whomever that might be, right, one of the first things that they do is sever you from your relationship to your ancestry, right? Because then you're an unknown, and we all know an unknown can be treated anyway, right? Because you have no grounding, you have no history, you have no nothing, right? So
Say that again.
okay, that I was saying that the head of a colonizer, right, to subjugate people to their will, they have to
They want to wipe out everything, right?
absolutely,
But they were never ever able to do that, correct?
correct.
Now
Why?
some of us
Because
choose
you're
to
on
stay. Some of
you're
us
on
choose to stay disconnected But I think like the people on this show, we've always known that there's something else. And
Correct.
honestly, we don't need a book, a church. We don't need the radio to know that connection, that we just know it.
Well, I think that what you're talking about is the divine intelligence that tells you that that source, when it writes, its Bible is nature. And that the indigenous person learned to read the signs and symbols from nature. Why? Because those very signs and that very nature is what sustains you on the planet.
I'm still amazed at Harriet Tubman in her runs to freedom, how she knew the moss was on the north side of the tree. I'm amazed at what our grandparents knew and tried to teach us. I think, I don't know who's the youngest on here, but I remember Father John having to take that. I remember that liquor bottle that grandma had, they call it rock candy.
Mm-hmm.
And you take a teaspoon of that, it'll knock knock the hair off your head. I remember stories of onions around your neck or garlic around your neck. But we've gotten so
Turpentine,
so sophisticated, you know, we don't want to touch or smell like garlic no more. And I'm not knocking, I'm just saying.
Well, the perception was related to equality. So you were thrown into a situation where there was a struggle for what was perceived to be is equality. But the question is what are you trying to be equal to? Are you trying to be equal to someone who has proven that they don't have a sufficient relationship to nature?
Well, we just got a little mixed up in the spin cycle. That's all. But we clearly know, if you look at America right now, we clearly know who acts like they have a soul and who doesn't. And it ain't all one color either, as we have stated in the show, as Brenda, our dear friend Brenda Bennett reminds us, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And apparently we've had some people that look just like us who've been so close, they the ones who be blocking.
Correct.
Hey, I want to ask y'all what y'all think about this.
It's one thing when another race dump on you, but it's another thing when you're own and you trying to figure out, what the hell did I do to this black person? Yeah. Person of color. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Horace.
Well, in regards to what you were saying too, I'm the type of person that when I see something that's being done good in the black community, regardless to whether it's more science, Nation of Islam, Israel, I don't believe in tearing down the next organization. Trying to find fault in them. You know what I mean? Are they selling too many bean pies, or they killed Malcolm X? I'm not with any of that, because I see the work that they do in general, and because I know some brothers who was on drugs, who was on their last limb, and when you see them brothers now, man, they sharp. I'm talking about like a brand new plug
in on that note, as you always do your tributes. This is brother Naba Muhammad. He was from Baltimore. We knew him as Richard Muhammad. He was the editor-in-chief of the Final Call. Wow. He went home back in June, but he was very close to the minister. And he and I'm going to share that in his memory. We had a very interesting discussion out in Portland, Oregon, about Malcolm, about what you just talked about. And I can't even remember the conversation, but we left the conversation with a mutual respect. You believe what you want to believe. I believe what I want to believe. But at the end of the day, let's take the good from it and let's move forward, because there's nothing we can do about yesterday.
That's right.
As long as we treat each other good today and are mindful. If I make a wrong, Hannibal, Horace, Mr. Wells, I apologize.
That's right.
I was thinking while everybody was talking, and I was thinking about like awareness. You know, our ancestors believed in a higher power. And it seems like at this day and time, our people is kind of iffy on, do we believe in a higher power? What is it or what is not? I believe that the interactions, was interactions between native folks here and people that came from the continent of Africa. They had one common thing in common which jailed them, and it was a belief in the Most High. I sent you a prophecy from the Hopis. The Hopis got a grand prophecy, and it's about the 4 colors the Native Americans got: the white, the yellow, the black, and the red.
Are you talking to me in the
Yeah, I sent you a video. I think
which one you want to pull up?
The first one. And this is a Hopi Indian. They normally, and I think this is back in the 70s. He came out. He got permission from his elders to tell the prophecy to the people. And he's gonna say he gonna say something about the black race. And he gonna say everything about the white race, the red race, the yellow race, and the black race. And I want people to kind of pay attention. It's not too long.
I think it's my fault. I didn't. Bear with me a second. I thought I had it. But this technology is something else.
I think that, and also
I got you. Hold tight, killer.
Okay. Kind of just get the information out here to folks.
Look, your Detroit Lions just beat up my Ravens. I
wasn't going to say nothing to you about that one.
You had enough abuse. I ain't into that abuse.
I learned that Native people have many prophecies about this time. I begin to hear these over and over. And so I kind of more or less memorized a lot of them. And what I'd like to do now is share with you some of those. You know, every day now on the TV, I hear what the elders talked about back then. Even just last night, there's a sign that's to come before the third shaking of the earth, which I'm going to get to. I'll explain what all this means. Last night on the news, they were talking about it. We'll come up to that. They say at the beginning of each cycle of time, the Great Spirit comes down through a messenger. He makes a strong appearance upon the earth. And we are coming to an end of a cycle now. It's not the first cycle. There was a cycle of spirit. There was a cycle of the mineral, the rock. There was a cycle of the plant. And now we're in the cycle of the animal, coming to the end of that and beginning the cycle of the human being. When we get into the cycle of the human being, the highest and greatest powers that we have will be released to us and be released from that light or soul that we carry to the mind. But right now we're coming to the end of the animal cycle when we have investigated ourselves and learned what it is to be like an animal on this earth. And at the beginning of this cycle of time, long ago, the Great Spirit came down and he made an appearance. He gathered the peoples of the earth together to stay on an island that is now beneath the water. And he said to the human beings, he said, I'm going to send you to 4 directions. And over time, I'm going to change you to 4 colors. But I'm going to give you some teachings, and you will call these the original teachings. And when you come back together with each other, you will share these so that you can live and have peace on earth, and a great civilization will come about.
So look at Hannibal. This joint is another 7 minutes. You want to sum it up?
Yeah, he's saying it right now. He's getting to it. He's describing the powers that when he gathered these 4 races on this island that's beneath the water, the Most High gave the blacks, us, power over water. That's why we able good to do things with blood transfusion and things like that. He gave the natives, the ones from here, good things with the herbs and stuff like that. He gave the Chinese or the yellow one, the one with the fire, like firecrackers, like fireworks, and then he gave
you mean gunpowder?
Gunpowder. Then he gave the whites the power with the metal, like metallurgy.
Mm.
Now he was saying that this is the Hopi prophecy, saying that it's a cycle, that the Hopi say that it's supposed to be a grand unification of that symbol of the four races. You know what I'm saying? And if you listen to it, their symbol is the same symbol across several tribes across the whole country, because the Hopis come from Arizona, and even the Kaliwa and Saponis, or even the eastern group of natives, got the same color code.
Now you just threw in the term metallurgy, and you said that that's the gift that he gave the Europeans or the so-called whites. But I thought metallurgy started in Africa, and maybe that's not what you're saying. Maybe they perfected it. Maybe.
Right.
Well, look, I got a question. What is this guy? Is he? What is his nationality?
He's a Hopi prophet of some sort.
Yeah. See, when I see this guy look like Burt Reynolds, you know, and I really, you know, he could.
I think that
I can't.
You can't gel with it. Let me move the clip along a little bit. Let me get this guy to his last.
How about in the middle, right there?
All right, well, let's give him a little shot. I was pulling for him, but he a little long with it.
Black people were bringing teachings of water to humanity.
Yeah, that goes just a little bit back. He's talking about black people.
White snow on this continent, he gave the white race of people that got south. He gave the yellow race of people learn during the cycle of time the teachings of the earth and the plants that grow from the earth and the foods that you can eat and the herbs that are healing. So that when we came back together with the other brothers and sisters, we could share this knowledge with them, because something good was to happen on the earth. And to the south, he gave the yellow race of people the guardianship of the wind, and they were to learn about the sky and breathing and how to take that within ourselves for spiritual advancement. And they were to share that with us in this time. And to the west, where there's blackness of night, he gave the black race of people the guardianship of the water, and they were to learn the teachings of the water, which is the chief of the elements. It was the most humble and also the most powerful. When I went to the University of Washington and learned that it was a black man that invented blood plasma, it didn't surprise me, because blood is water. And the elders already told me that black people bring the teachings of water to humanity.
All right, Hannibal. I'm about done with him.
I believe our perspective on race and ethnicity is kind of miscued. I think that a lot of us need to dive a little deeper, because it's on the surface, it's deeper than the blood. And I think that especially when you go out west, you'll see different types. In the east, you'll see more of us. The northeast, southeast, or especially you go west, you'll start seeing them, the ones they quote unquote say come from out of the what they say side the land bridge, that's
Bering Strait.
The Bering Strait. So you'll start seeing that out there. Those things did occur. People did migrate. Even the Irish came over here and have Native American ties with the Indians in New York. They used to fight naked. There's record of them. You know, they talk about a white group of people that's fought naked, and that's the Irish back in antiquity.
Well, let me ask you a question, brother. So are you validating that are indigenous?
I'm not validating. I'm just saying the history of the place. So I'm just going to play the middleman. I'm just going to say what's out there.
Well, I'm understanding, but only thing that I'm saying is that when I see people that look like Europeans, they claim to be quote unquote Indians, then I have to double check, because I know that that's just like the Boers in Africa. They can easily say that they're African.
Yeah, but you got to think about this as well. Like since 1520s, 1540s, Europeans have had children with Native Americans, and these natives and these children had mixed back with Europeans. So the bloodline is still, the natives are still there. There's some of them have, you got to give it to, some of them have been raised on a reservation or with their clan. You get what I mean? I'm not disagreeing with the viewpoints, but I'm just trying to say that we do have to acknowledge what's been going on. I acknowledge that it is people that's perpetrating the fraud, the $5 Indians, but I also acknowledge of what happened in the past. You had people that was enslaved. Like they say, our ancestors were molested and raped. Same thing with the natives, and you know what I'm saying. Same thing happened to everybody that was enslaved. You got to. So think about this. Ship ride. I ain't gonna say a lot of people that was on the ship, but you did have people come. I heard stories of people stop menstruating. I heard of people on the plantation was on the very first colonial plantations, the cooks on the plantations were the native women. That's how we pick up things like greens and cornbread. You know what I'm saying? So it's many points that we got to look into before we make a summation and a final thought about what it is.
When you say, see, like when I hear the word native, and then I get something that's attributed to something other than people that look like us without it being mistaken as Mexican or something to that effect, because I do understand that through amalgamation you get these different ethnic groups that's created, et cetera, et cetera. But when I deal with the original things that were already gone, because see, we have realized too, man, the timelines in which a lot of these stories about these people coming from on the Bering Strait, et cetera, we have been here literally for billions of years.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So now, if we were to just say travel back in time to 5 million years ago and come here, everything that is being attributed to a so-called American Indian or Native American is stuff that we do that they just adopted along the way. So we take away from the fact that we are the originators of these things. It's like and I think that a lot of things play out in real time in certain things, such as music.
Right.
What is it? Country western, or what is it called? Just that genre alone. If we're not born into a generation that knows the history of the origin of country music, then we would think that, hey, it's just a white thing.
Right.
So for the generations to come, it will be attributed to people like Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton, not knowing that Cab Calloway and whoever else was the original creators of this thing, they will be thrown on the back burner, man. So I don't have a problem with anything you're saying, man, because you my right hand, man. Look at, man.
I'm not disagreeing.
If I cut my right hand off, your hand gonna grow there. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I was just saying this is I think everybody coming to a realization. I think we started off with the conversation of the Most High and or the unseen hand, and I think the unseen hand comes when
Hey, check it out, Playboy. Well, just listen, man. Just listen. I'm on a business call. That's why I was doing like that. Okay, I'm sorry, bro. It's all good. I said it's all good, man. It's all good, bro. I'm cool.
So what I was saying, like, even right now, everybody got this misconception of God. Is we Hebrews? Are we natives? Are we Moors? Even the language we speak right now is a derivative of a Semitic language. English is a derivative of a Semitic language. Even A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Them are Semitic words from the Semitic symbols from the Hebrew. They just went from the Greek to the Germans to the English over time. So I think it's the perspective. Even the natives, even the the ba, the ka, all the sounds, the phonics, it's the same root. You get what I mean? This is why they was able to come over here and people was able to translate these words with them, because they understood that what the etymology of the words, you get what I mean? The etymology of the sounds or the connection to things. And I think that once if we go into things with a block saying that it's not this way, we won't be able to see it. I think we got to be neutral and see what happened. Then we'll see what unfolded. Who was the players? Who is the enemy within? You get what I mean?
I got something for you. I got something for you because you mentioned country music.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to give a little history here. Hold tight.
Oh, yeah. Just to know we can stand in the rain and sing. And the people are so sweet to stay here. And I come in on, let me tell you what I come in on. Oh, yeah. Let me keep. Didn't it rain, children? Rain, oh yes. Didn't it? Yes, didn't it? You know it did, didn't it? Oh yes, how it rained. I said it rained, children. Rain, oh yes. Didn't it? Yes, didn't it? You know it did, or didn't it? Oh my Lord, how it rained. You know it rained 40 days, rained 40 nights. To make my God not fit me right. I'm going to get to heaven, gonna put on my robe, walk around in glory, tell the glad news. Look up David in the heat of the day, tune up a harp and begin to play. I know it rained, you know it rained. Oh, how it rained, rain too long, all night long. Rain, 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 rain. Didn't it rain, children? Rain, oh yes. Didn't it, yes. Didn't it, you know it did, or didn't it? Oh my Lord, how it rained.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go too far. That's the godmother of rock and roll. What do you think of that? Sister Rosetta Tharpe. Y'all know about her?
Yeah, well, in the 80s, was a founding member of the Black Rock Coalition. And out of the Black Rock Coalition came the international rock Grammy-winning band Living Color. And, you know, we were discussing, you know, the title, the Black Rock Coalition, right? Now, music in itself doesn't have any particular, you know, it's an invisible art, but it chooses who brings it into the world. Okay, and it happens that rock music, country, blues came through melanated people originally. Okay, now does that mean only we're the only ones who can play it? No, but it does mean that we're the originators of it. Now, the reason why that organization was created, right, was because they lied about it constantly. So what that tells any intelligent person is we have to question anything coming out their mouth. Now, I'm not saying curse them. I'm not saying not listen to them. I ain't saying none of that. But one would be a fool not to question it, only because the track record has been so much bullshit
Right.
that excludes us from that reality. And us being a bit older, we've seen it over and over and over and over and over again, right? So we have to give whoever is living the floor that we listen. But in turn, we have to inquire as to what they're really putting down, and is it true? Because it could very well be true, you know. But we have to have that discernment of the situation, because they will leave us out of everything for some reason.
Yeah.
I personally feel that that is a mental illness situation that has
Yes.
been misdiagnosed. That's what I think.
And that's the reason why, you know, I was saying what I was saying, not to, you know, discredit their credibility
Absolutely.
in regards to anything, but like you said, you know, I noticed that if I was to plagiarize something that I didn't want anybody to know the original author, I'm not going to mention them.
Correct.
So when I see that these people attribute, you know, these prophecies and these saying that we were doing this, you know, during the time of slavery, etc., but they never ever say, well, the people who really did this was so and so. That's how come
Right.
I question it. So, like I originally said, if they tell me to go right, you know, best believe I'm considering going left only because.
Exactly.
That's right.
You know.
Because they got a track record. Once you lie, we can't believe nothing you say. Once you steal, we consider you a thief. Now you had to prove you ain't after that.
There you go.
You know, I had a buddy, a Lumbee Indian, down in Lumberton, North Carolina, and he was a little short dude, but they feared this brother, and I, you know, wish that I could see him again one day, but I haven't seen him since the 90s. But he was, man, telling those Lumbee Indians, like, man, we are not Indians.
Mm-hmm.
He said, look at you, man, you don't look like no damn Indian. And at the time, I didn't know what he meant. You know what I mean? But he sure was telling the man. He said, man, we ain't no damn Indians.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I hear,
I'm sorry.
No, so when I hear, you know, someone, you know, classify, you know, certain groups of people that don't look like us as Native Americans, I always raise the question of what will make you think that they are really us when they're not. They usurped our birthrights, and okay, they may have done it through marriage, amalgamation, etc. That's just like Top Cats the other day when I was telling him about the Morenos and the crypto Jews, and he said, don't lump them together. Well, I didn't mention it then, but even though he said Christopher Columbus was in Portugal, they still had that bloodline. And so that bloodline was in Portugal, it was in France, it was in Scott, you know what I'm saying? And they went by different names. So that's why I was grouping them together, because of the bloodline, not because of the name. I know that they intermarried and stuff like that, but just because you're in Scotland and this other cat is over here in Portugal, they share that same bloodline, even though they have two separate names.
I want to share something from one of our guests who, make sure I pull it up. This is from Goddess, and I'm not sure if you can read, but it says, historical narratives concerning Black and Indigenous people have been deliberately manipulated and suppressed by white supremacists to justify racial hierarchies and enable the theft of land and resources. And again, I simply Googled what God has suggested. Why did white people cover up Black Indian history? You can Google it for yourself. I'll just go through the subtitles. Fabricating and reinforcing a strict racial binary. Number 2, manipulating and weaponizing official records. Number 3, discrediting Black Indians and their tribal connections, promoting land theft and assimilation, suppressing narratives of cooperation and resistance. Thank you so much, Goddess. That is absolutely the comment of the millennium.
Duh. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think you know, in terms of others that may have traveled from the Bering Strait and this, that, and the other, the Eskimo region, the this, the that, all of these different things, they may also, okay, be limited to the colonial education system themselves, right? So having taught at the Heart of the Earth Native American School in Minnesota, right? I got of which I was invited to the original rebirth of the ghost dance in Canada. Okay, one thing I noticed that those people were suffering from alcohol, from police brutality, from poverty. So whomever it is that hates us does hate a lot of them too, because they don't provide, just like us, very little in any type of support. They take their history, or they're bent on their history from them. Okay, in Hawaii, like I was telling you before, they cut out the people's tongues of the native people here because they didn't want them speaking their own language, right? So, and some of them have been educated through a colonial system, right? Who's going to say, well, where are the black people if they ain't black? I mean, you know, you feel me? Because they got their own suffering that they're trying to repair,
Deal with.
right? It's up to us to bring the light for people who look like us and anyone else that is devoted to questing for truth, such as someone like whatever, Carlos Castaneda. Okay, he was on a search, right? Well, the search itself is divine. The search is divine. What you do with it, that's on you.
All right,
Right?
we got another presentation from Hannibal. You ready?
Yes, sir. So let's go and coincide with what Horace was talking about, the Appalachians being pyramids. And this is in Kentucky, along that mountain base. So it look like step pyramid, right?
That's in Kentucky.
That's a step pyramid, most definitely.
Yes. So when you get into Kentucky's history, you got to think about Davy Crockett and them. Dealing with like the first explorers.
Well, I got to think of Davy Crockett.
He like the first ones to come in there, right?
That's the first one they
talked about. Lewis and Clark. That's who it is.
Lewis and Clark, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
Lewis
even
Clark.
They had a black man. Even they had
Absolutely.
a black man showing them the way. So
right.
Absolutely.
And you remember he got quote unquote. They say he got captured by the natives and stayed with the natives for a year. Then ran away back to the white folks. That's their story.
I ain't buying that BS.
Me either.
I ain't buying that BS at all. They can take that and sell that to their mama. I ain't buying that. No, thank you.
But the Kentucky's Native American history is real interesting. I don't know too much about it, but I know that root word of Kentucky is interesting. Put it that way.
Well,
and
clearly that's a step pyramid.
Yeah, and then when you go down a little, Kentucky, below Kentucky is Tennessee. So when you get into Tennessee, you got the caves. And then when you get in, then below Tennessee, you got Alabama, and that's where you got the mounds. So it must be.
I do know one thing about the so-called Native American. They have already attested to that they are not the mound builders.
Right. Right. A lot of them, like the Aztecs, the Aztecs said that it was someone out there in Colorado before they got out that way. Even the Maya,
I'm talking about the ones, the Native Americans that's here, with the different tribes across the land, like how he was talking. And I've seen a few of those reservations up there in Minnesota as well. But I do know one thing that was brought to my attention by great Dr. Claude Anderson is that these particular people who we call Native Americans had government contracts. And they were the ones who were out in the woods when the people were trying to escape captivity from being prisoners of war. They had contracts with them to scalp us when they caught us. I was I drove through Oklahoma a couple of years ago and stopped at, because they do have a highway that's Indian highway. I don't know what tribe they're supposed to be, but man, I thought everything was cool. I went in one of the little gas stations or whatever. Man, you'd have thought that the Ku Klux Klan was behind the counter the way I got the stare down. So like I said, that those guys had a contract with the government, and somehow their contract had run its course. So they promised to give them these reservations, et cetera, et cetera. But the people that dislike them, that dislike us, man, they don't like anybody.
So if you ever look at
you know what I mean? They're hate mongers.
Like that Trail of Tears thing, if you really pay attention to it, the natives they talking about were these Scottish folks, Scottish mixed breeds from what they call ULRICH, Aldrich, somewhere over there in Ulster or whatever over there in Scotland. And these Highlanders and these folks came over here, especially within the Lower Creek Nation. These folks were your folks that was dealing with Andrew Jackson and all that type stuff. You get what I mean? So when you look into this quote unquote semantics of the word Native American, American Indian, whatever you want to call it, it's bloodlines back to England and back to the throne of, you know what I'm saying? Like with the names like Stewart and Lewis and these other McGilveries and all this stuff goes back to something higher than what we believe. You get what I mean? And their bonds, and their bond, and I think this is what we got to pay attention to. Their bonds supersede color. Because they bond as white, black, I mean, on the surface or whatever it is, it's family, And these folks run the nation out there in the West now. And it's really nobody that's Red Sticks or Upper Creeks that's running the Creek Nation, quote unquote, now. Or
I just want to jump in for a second. We've come across this thing, and I see Beat Active is pretty vocal in the chat. Gentlemen, are we in agreement that the melanated man is indigenous to the planet Earth?
Yes.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Well,
yes. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear?
So that means we indigenous. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we indigenous to the planet.
Correct.
If we search, and we brought up multiple pictures of the Son Bushman, the oldest DNA,
any of it,
wherever you go. So the Americas, because this guy's saying like the bush, the hair. I mean, did he not see the Olmec heads? And then there's a difference too between original and aboriginal. If you came from the Bering Strait, then you're not original.
Yeah, and those Olmec heads, they never show you the backside of Olmec heads, but you can see the braids back there. You can see the cornrow.
I don't know what it is. There are people, and this is, let me share this. We did a video about 10 years ago on Black Indians. And the response I got, it almost pushed me away from ever touching the topic again, because ultimately, I think Facebook, I had a page with 200,000 followers. I'm almost certain that's the last comment I remember making, and then all of a sudden this page had disappeared. So we know about the algorithms, we know about the censoring that happens all over, but we are adamantly clear on this show about who we are.
Mhm.
We might not know all of our story of how we all got to be here, but we know there's something more.
Yes.
We know there's something more. We're not going to read it in Sunday school. Probably won't get it out of a church. Get some of it out of a Bible, but we got to put on our thinking caps, as they would tell us back in elementary school, because a lot of this is spirit, as Horace so eloquently laid out, is spirit.
Mhm.
As a little boy, I knew there was something. I was watching cowboy and Indian movies just like y'all. Innately, I was for the Indians. And
Me
as you
too.
were talking about the scalping, I remember that being probably the most vicious part of any cowboy and Indian movie. But who else experienced that wickedness in this country at the hands of non-black people but us? When you think of lynching pregnant women, feeding black babies to alligators.
Mm.
And so when I hear people like Beat Active, I wonder, does Beat Active understand who the black person, the melanated person, has been to America? Dr. King said it, and it always resonated with me. It made sense years later. He said something to the effect that we are the moral conscience of America. I've seen nobody in my 60 years fight for freedom like us. From Fannie Lou Hamer to Harriet Tubman to Denmark VC in South Carolina to Chief John Horse in Florida. We fought against every terroristic, racially inferior mindset that one could imagine. We think about, imagine somebody coming in your house and taking your woman for the night and telling you go scrub the front. So we're not very tolerant of foolishness from anybody. And thank you for that little PSA.
Yeah, and see that's why I'm so critical of anything that comes from a person that I can't see myself at when I look in the mirror.
Yeah,
If he
that's
does,
like
if he
having
does,
white
just like
Jesus
you,
on your wall.
yeah. So if those people who are doing these talkings and saying that, hey, we Native Americans and this is what it is, blah blah blah, but then they look like that white Jesus, the Michelangelo painting, I'm automatically like, hold fast. What's this all about? Not to discredit anybody through marriage or anything like that, but man, we have been through a hell of a lot, and like the brother Donnie just said, we the moral conscious, because we just think about it, man. Who in the world would go through what we have been going through for 500 years and haven't snapped out? It's a wonder that all of us ain't walking around alcoholics or on crack or heroin.
Say it again,
Just
brother.
cope with this.
See, this is the kind of diabolically sick mind that we are dealing with. Talking about Araminta Ross. This person can go straight to the opposite of heaven, calling my Araminta Ross a fake. Did that Indian got on makeup?
Well,
Okay,
the difficulty is this: is that there is a psychological neurosis
a
that
sickness.
is deeply embedded envy. And if you've ever been around an envious person, they'll do everything they possibly can to cover up their lack of self-esteem.
Say it again, Mr. Wells.
That's what they do. They
Say
cover
it
up
again,
their
Mr.
lack
Wells.
cover up their lack of self-esteem.
True
Right?
indeed.
Because they
True
can't
indeed.
they can't face certain aspects of their lineage because in many cases it's too horrible.
Horrible,
Right?
yeah.
So they don't have the courage to go through that because they've outlawed all of the medicine that could help them with that. Right? They could take them to realms where they could actually work on that. right?
Right.
So that's what we're dealing with, right? But there's a certain sweetness that we have, that indigenous people have, and it is envied
I'm gonna beat you to the
because
punch
because the
tonight,
other people
Horace.
don't know how to get to it, you know.
Horace, we whining, we got down to an hour, but I got something for you, Horace.
Okay.
Can you go ahead and hit your ancestral piece?
Okay.
We like to pay homage to our ancestors. Just give me a moment, Horace. I done messed up again. Boy, I tell you, I be looking for my great grandma picture. I lost a whole hard drive, so you know what that means. It changed
Oh
right
yeah.
as I do it. Go ahead, Horace. I'll catch up with you.
Okay. I'm trying to put it up on the screen and see. Okay. I want to start off by giving honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Queen Nitha, the most honorable Empress Vidayasi, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm Malik El Shabazz, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, the Honorable Taj Tariq Bey and Dr. G, the Honorable Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Francis C. Wilson, Dr. Ari Khanna, Sister Shahrazad Ali, Chief Warhorse, Mama T, Vicky Dillard, Sister Myra, Dr. Joy DeGrue, Patrice Lumumba, Professor PLO Malumba, the late great C. Freeman Hill, Dr. Martin Luther King, Che Guevara, Dr. Malachi York, Omali Yeshatila, Julius Malema, President Ibrahim Traore, the beloved Brother Bobby Hemmett, the Honorable Reverend Dr. Phil Valentine, Nellie Fuller, Fred Hampton, Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Ben, Dr. Henry Clark, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, Anthony T. Browder, Dr. Booker T. Coleman, Professor James Small, Rod Hayes, Billy Carson, 19 Keys, Dane Calloway, Karumu Ahua, the brother Planet Wells, the brother Hannibal, my brother Donnie Glover, and to all of our people out here that's on our team, Ashe. Until our ancestors, Ashe.
Ashe. That's my great grandmother. My daddy said, "Hey boy, my grandmother carried a
There
bucket
you
of
go.
water on her head and one in each hand and never spilled a drop." And that's
Wow.
all he ever told me. Maybe that's all he knew. But I went back and found some more Mortons. Her name was Molly Morton. I found others in down in Halifax, in South Boston. And I just want to thank y'all for helping us all on this journey to reclaim our ancestors' rights.
Hey, can I say something before we go, brother? That I didn't
Mm.
get to mention.
You can
Is
say what
that
you
the
want.
youth, like we
Assata
say,
Shakur. Assata Shakur. Shout out to Assata
yeah,
Shakur.
Shada
God
Shakur.
rest in peace. Rest in power.
You know, this comment there right there. What about Dan Calloway, man? That brother has been leading the pack in a lot of areas, showing us who we are, and so has the brother Rod Hayes and the brother Dr. Malachi. So, but I wanted to say that for the most part, the youth that's on this journey, like the brother Mafia Shakur, wherever he's at. I was expecting their young brother today, but I think that they skipped preschool, grammar school, high school, and college, and went straight to graduate school. So the information that they got is surpassed of what some of the elders are trying to drag them back into. You know, we still got a bunch of the elders trying to drag these young people back into the church, back into this biblical narrative, into this Quranic narrative. They're not trying to hear any of that. You know, the only thing they're trying to hear is like, look, man, we from Turtle Island, and we trying to figure this thing out, dealing with our ancestors on this land and our history on this land. period, or exclamation point, whichever one is your choice. So I take my hat off to this younger generation, and I'm riding with them if I don't ride with nobody else.
So free Papa
Agreed.
forever. I
Agreed.
want you to hear what the brother just said. We can't be caught up. All old people this, all young people that. None of us can afford the blanket statement anybody.
Right.
You never know who might save your life. I live in West Baltimore. You don't know who might save your life.
Yeah, true indeed.
What you somebody trying to save your life? You like, hold up. Let me see your bloodline.
Yeah, right. That's right.
That's right.
Exactly.
Boy,
And
these
learn,
comments are blowing up. You hear them?
Yeah.
learn.
You said the older generation are jealous of the younger generation. That's fictitious.
Yeah, because we haven't demonstrated that on the show. We've been very welcoming to anybody older or younger.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Or other races.
Yeah, it's just intelligence.
Yeah,
But
and
don't come
the
over here
professor.
proud be black people. This is where you will catch a beat down. Don't come over here and mess with melanated people. This ain't the place.
Yeah, that professor from Duke was mentioning how one of the guys was dressing like the Native American or whoever in order to sell some product he had. Does anybody remember that? Well,
I do remember.
I started to intervene, but in order for who was dressing like the Native American, they had to look like him to pass him.
Just like the Jews in Egypt.
Yeah, so it's almost like in his subconscious, he was thinking a white dude was dressing like a Native American to sell a product. No, that was a black European that was dressing like one of the indigenous people from this land.
Now I got to pull Papa on the car. It is written that God's last will be the first in this case of truth. I would take the newer generation serious. Now I'm a little that's an immediate right in this sentence mixture of Hebrew and indigenous. If I can just get to the least common denominator, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying because I still am not clear on the Hebrew connection in this new land unless somebody was traveling by boat from here to there.
Well,
and I'm not saying it hasn't. I'm just saying the general conversation hasn't gotten to us exporting culture to the rest of the world. And maybe the pyramids is the primary example. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But this right here is suggesting the Hebrew story, to my knowledge, started over there in
Middle East somewhere.
Well, it says
Africa, because there ain't no such thing as Middle East.
It starts out with "it is written." Okay, by whom?
Come on, free Papa. Come on, free Papa. And that's the part that got me about Mike Lane. 1 minute you saying, listen, I'm still with Marcus Garvey. Ain't nobody has torn me from Marcus Garvey, and I'm still rocking with Du Bois. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a fan all my life. Now, if I'm giving some definitive evidence, the W.B. Du Bois, who up until these past weeks, I have held in high esteem. If I'm shown otherwise, I got to give it up. I got to acquiesce. But it has not been definitively shown to me that Du Bois was about hurting our people, nor Marcus Garvey. And so when Mike Lane went and said, he said, oh, Marcus Garvey is a scammer. I said, according to whom? He said, the American government. My response was, the same American government you're complaining about? So make your mind, pick a team.
I'm trying to tell you, man. You know, somebody recently brought it to my attention that that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is supposed to be a Caucasian man. Has anyone heard that?
Yeah, his father. His father is a white man, right?
Well, I mean, I haven't done any investigation, but that's
You
what I
can
heard.
Google it. I think his father was somebody real famous in Jamaica or something, real important in Jamaica or something.
Hey, let's get our facts straight, because I don't want them boys knocking on my door. Y'all say what y'all want, but the nation, the foot of this nation, that's real talk. in a city,
I'm most definitely riding with, my brothers in the NOI, because I got my little brother is in the nation, and some of my guys that I grew up with who were serious gang bangers on the street of Chicago, man. The brothers, man, bow ties every day, and they're walking righteous paths. So it really doesn't matter to me whether his father is white or not.
Here we
Especially
go.
if
This
the
is off
fruits
of
are right.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Farrakhan, who was black, was born Louis Eugene Walcott, May 11th, 1933, in the Boogie Down Bronx. He is the younger of two sons of Sarah Mae Manning and Percival Clark. I had an uncle named Percival. Immigrants from the Anglo-Caribbean islands. His mother was born in St. Kitts. His father was Jamaican. The couple separated before the second son was born, and Walcott says he never knew his biological father. Walcott was named after Louis Walcott, a man with whom his mother had a relationship after becoming separated from Percival Clark. Now, you can read more on the Wikipedia page. But he's always acknowledged his Caribbean roots.
Well, one of the
And
things
this is my thought about the nation. If it's something for it to have saved the lives of men that I know, cats who was gone, dead,
That's right,
spiritually, and it brings them back to life. Oh, that's resurrection.
Right. Yeah, they did it work.
The other thing is in terms of this type of equation, the factor that one often leaves out, whether it be Du Bois or whoever, right, is the time period. If you don't know the time period, you don't know what they was working with, right? They could be using their genius to get through, to get is whatever
as they can get.
information that they could assimilate to us. Okay, you don't know what they had to go through. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say you do, you're bullshitting.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, show
Right?
some respect for the people who went before us.
Absolutely. Okay.
I'm a 1,000% with you.
My grandfather, to save his brother, who happened to be light skinned, who looked at a white woman, and the Klan came looking for him to lynch him. My grandfather had to give up his 2 horses. Right? He compromised for his brother to get his brother out of the county so he wouldn't get lynched. Right?
Where was that? Where was that at?
Texarkana, Arkansas.
Wow.
Yeah. So, we can't be too harsh. We can't be too harsh because we don't know what it was like.
Hey, Wells, when I hear people saying something negative about their mother, particularly on social media, but say in person, I thought is if your mother didn't throw you in a dumpster.
That's right.
If your mother didn't throw you in a dumpster, be grateful.
Correct.
If you had any type of happiness or pleasantries in this life, we should be grateful. I remember.
And so how you judge, you will be judged. Now that's for sure. You can take that one to the bank.
So my thought for them people that crack on Marcus Garvey Du Bois is, what have you done? What have you done for our people?
Thank you.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you got a lot of people trying to zero in and saying since Minister Farrakhan's father is white, and that he made a statement of saying something about we shouldn't have thick lips or nappy hair, which I'm gonna have to look into, that he was infiltrating for our enemies all the time. And I mean, you know, me personally, I can't honor that because, you know, I've heard him speak against those powers that used to be in a fashion that helped tear them down in the first place on a big scale. And like I said, I've seen the work that was done, you know, to the brothers and sisters on the streets. So there's no way in the world that I could, you know, listen to somebody, you know, try to tear this brother down, you know, and try to uplift their own organization. I'm the wrong person to talk about with that type of stuff to me.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
we've had another healthy discussion. I want to ask you, gentlemen, we don't often go into this. How's your mental health? Or any tidbits to the young brothers out there. Do you remember being 18, 20, 23, and angry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to exercise, and you know, I like to run and jog. I like to get in the sauna to relax. So that's the
I'm
type
with
of
the
thing I
sauna.
do.
I love the sauna.
Steam room too. So that helps me with my mental. So, you know, I think everybody needs to take time and calm down. Like you say, if going through this madness we've been through over here, everybody's crazy in some type of sense. You know, so you got to go ahead and.
I always say, Hannibal, if every black person gets therapy, it ain't gonna mean nothing if the white supremacists don't get therapy too. And I tell you who got to step up. Decent white people. It's decent white people's time to step up.
Mm-hmm.
You put Trump there, then you need to impeach him out.
Well, you know, 12% of white Americans like blacks, I can say, but then we have to deal with the other 88%, which is a big number. And you know, I know that, and I don't long for the day of anything negative, but I wish one of them would tell me, you're in my neighborhood. You know, my response would be, well, your neighborhood is on my land.
Mm-hmm.
I try to avoid my comments. I live in Baltimore, a 60+% black city, and I try to keep it non-racial. But when Trump starts talking about black children, and then I look out in my alley and I see non-black addicts in my alley shooting dope or trying to before my German Shepherd get to them.
Right.
When I hear people like Trump saying these wicked things about black children, and then I see a white person shooting dope on my corner before I get up on them with the dog, because you can't shoot dope in public. So when I hear these things and then I juxtapose it with the reality, then we know how powerful media is. And Malcolm said it. It can make the innocent look guilty and the guilty look innocent. And while you doing them shout outs, Horace, we haven't really touched this on the show, but my prayers, for real, go to the Gaza Strip and the people starving to death.
So indeed.
We ain't seen bodies like that since the CARE commercials of the 70s, Wells.
Absolutely.
And you know, Ice Cube said in one of his rap songs, he said, MFers that say they too black, put them overseas, they be begging to come back.
Deep.
But one thing I found on this show is a pride in my indigenous ancestry. And you know, before we go Planet Wells, you got to give me some libations. You got to call some names, and Hannibal, you got to call some names.
Okay.
Okay. Sun Ra.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Sorry. James Baldwin.
Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
Muhammad Ali.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Yes, sir.
Booker T. Jones.
Ashe.
Elma Lolita Diverges Jones,
Ashe.
Ashe.
E. Rodney Jones, I think I said that, E. Rodney Jones, and all of the ancestors of everyone who is on this podcast and everyone who is listening, regardless of your color or your nationality. Okay. A healing is necessary for this planet. Get Be open to accepting information if it's true from anybody.
True indeed.
Bring up your humanity. That's where we got to go.
Ashe.
So,
Ashe.
I like to give thanks to the Most High God for giving me the opportunity to come here and build with you guys and with like minds and set our people on the right path. I like to give thanks to my mother and father who ain't here no more, that gave me the foundation to be who I am and to be the independent thinker that I am and to think between the lines.
Ashe.
I like to thank those who inspired me to research this thing of us being natives, like Ivan Van Sertima. I like so many people: Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Hannibal Barker in the past. That's where I get my name from. And everybody here, you know, I love conversating with you guys and bouncing ideas and hearing perspectives and seeing how it all gel together, because it's all a big puzzle that gels together. And I thank everybody here.
Ashe. I just want to put a plug in for the people behind the walls. I've done a lot of shows, and I'd be remiss. That has been a topic that we've covered in the top 5: Black business, public education, returning citizens or formerly incarcerated persons. That's a whole world of language there. Affordable housing and universal access to healthcare. But America has, while it has 5% of the world's population, Hannibal, America has 25% of the incarcerated persons. And statewide, it's 30% of the people locked up are melanated men, look like us.
Yes,
and federal joints, we make up 40%. Melanated men make up 40% of the federal prison system, when we are only somewhere between 13 and 20% allegedly of the population. So we are a small percentage of a small percentage, but we star in the prison movies. So big ups to those people behind the walls. Most of you are coming home with a support system, rebuild those bridges, reconnect with your children. Black women at one point were the fastest growing prison demographic. We see it on the streets. It ain't just young brothers out there on the corners hustling. It's young sisters too.
Yeah.
So while we talk about a lot of things about our history and our culture, the reality is slavery never really ended. Because if you get locked up, you're a slave of the state.
Just manifest something different.
I'd like to say this one thing, that one, this particular forum of being televised, other than Donnie, you know, we don't have a lot of experience with this.
That's right.
You know, so I just like the audience to be patient with us as we're learning, as we're developing how to communicate via the telecommunications. The other thing, in addressing what Donnie was saying in terms of the current political climate, there are many of us that for a small advantage, they are siding with people that they know that they shouldn't side with, but they're doing it for the come up. And I would say that in 1943, in Nazi Germany, there were people who were making those type of moves too. And they would work in the concentration camp and curtail their own people in the concentration camp. for a little bit more bread, a little water here and there. But in the end of the day, they came for them too.
Right.
So keep your allegiances pure, because it will come back on you.
True indeed. Before we go, I want to give praise to my ancestors that y'all can see on this picture. From left to right, I have my great grandmother Mary Holman, my aunt Laura of Oakland, California, my aunt Mary of Gary, Indiana. In the back is my aunt Alma of Oakland, California. In front of her is my aunt Carrie of St. Louis, Missouri. Then my aunt Ali Lillard of Oakland, California. My aunt Leola of Chicago, Illinois. And my grandmother Rose of Chicago, Illinois. So we got
I
two
bet each one of
Mary.
them got a pocketbook that they would hit somebody upside the head if they mess with their nephew, huh?
Oh, look here, man. My aunt Ali and my aunt Laura, my aunt Leola, boy, you couldn't tell them nothing about me, man. You know, and but my great grandmother, man, she had. I got my uncles, my uncle Lonzo, my uncle Luther, and my uncle James, who not on this picture, man. But I come from a long line of matriarchs, man. 7 sisters, and 3 of them stayed in the same region. So my
That's
aunt,
right.
my grandmother on in the front, and my aunt Leola, both of their husbands was on my great grandmother's birthday, on July the 3rd, and all 3 of them are the only ones out of all of the women that lived in Chicago. Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir.
Excellent, excellent.
And shout out to Brenda Bennett. Y'all better not forget Brenda Bennett. You know she
That's
all up
it,
in these
man.
comments.
I
Y'all,
know.
hey, y'all,
Hey, brother
Absolutely.
Common. Hey, brother.
Yeah, shout out. I call her Rabbi Brenda Bennett.
there you go, Rabbi. Don't make us call you up.
Rabboni Brenda Bennett.
That's the rabbi, y'all.
That's right.
If you don't know, you will know. We give honor to our ancestors and our behavior that makes them proud by behaving like the spiritual kings and queens we are destined to be. Let that be the final word. Gentlemen, we'll see you.
Absolutely.
Can we see you Monday night, 8 o'clock?
I'll be here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
God willing. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Much
Okay.
respect.
All right,
Good.
peace.
Good evening, world.
Hannibal.